Welcome to Strip Cover Lit, where we squeeze the bigger picture out of literature. I'm Adrian Fort, and we are here for something very near and dear to my heart. That is the 12th day of LitMas, but it is also goal setting time. I love me some goals, and here on the final day of LitMas, that's what we've got. We've got reading goals, writing goals, and Booktube goals. And I think I will start with a little bit of a digression into why I believe in goals and also why I believe in setting goals in the way that I set goals. I believe in setting goals because having poor aim at it, accomplishing 20% of an extremely ambitious goal is much better than accomplishing 100% of no goal at all, right? So in addition to that, setting goals also forces us, perhaps, to take time aside and really think about what it is that we're trying to accomplish. I don't remember how this quote goes. If you were on a ship that has no destination, you might always be there. You might already be there, floating aimlessly. But I believe also in setting goals as numbers because those numbers become easy to define and they become simple to track and they become very easy to break down. So for example, reading goals. I want to read 52 books in 2019. That is a very unambitious goal to some booktubers. I'm a very slow reader. But looking at that, one thing that becomes simple is I say, okay, then you have to read a book a week. 52 weeks in the year, 52 books is the goal. That becomes a book a week. It becomes 4 books a month. So breaking things down into numbers makes it extremely easy to track, and it makes it easy to see where we have. So say the first 2 months of the year, I don't read any books. Well, then it's easy to look at it and say, okay, well, now I have to read X number per week. But it also becomes the fact that the goal is never completely lost. For example, if you set another type of number goal, say you want to write every day. Well, something comes up the 3rd day of the year, I come down with the flu and I don't write. Well, then the goal's already for naught. So setting number goals helps us keep track of things, helps us keep clear sight of things, and always allows us to catch up if we fall behind. So for my reading goals, 52 books, 10 poetry collections, because I've really sort of fallen behind on poetry, and especially poetry collections. I've been reading one-offs of things recently, which is not, I don't think, quite as productive. And also, the final reading goal that I'm going to put on the channel is there was a Walter Isaacson Leonardo da Vinci biography that came out last year. I really want to read that this year. I've been putting it off, but I think this is the year, I think this is the time to really sit down and say, okay, I want to do it. And I think I'd like to put it on the channel, maybe go chapter by chapter and just say, hey, this was a really good story from this chapter, you know, something like that. But then we move on to writing goals. I want to write 24 short stories, which becomes 2 per month. 24 flash fiction, again, 2 per month. 50 poems, which is nearly 1 a week. A novel, I want to have 50 submissions, and I want to start getting into self-publishing through Amazon, I think, probably, with 2 short story collections and a poetry collection. If you have any information on that, what would make it easier, how to start, where to begin, I would really appreciate that if you could communicate that in the comment section below. But I want to talk a little bit about the differentiation between poems and short stories and stuff for my goal setting anyway. So what I do to set goals, okay, so I want to write 24 short stories next year. That becomes 2 a month. So when I do my monthly goals, I say, okay, let's write 2 short stories this month. Very simple. But then you have to set a daily task for yourself. And I try to write 500 words a day. It's easy for me to mechanize short stories and flash fiction and novel type projects in that way. I've not figured it out with poetry. Poetry is for me still a great mystery in that I'll hit a patch where I'm writing poetry, and I can knock out 10 in a week, 10, 15 in a week, because I'm just writing them, just rattling them off. But I haven't written a poem in probably 3 months now, and I don't feel the pressure to do so. Well, I feel the pressure for myself to do so, but I don't feel like when I don't write short stories and I don't write flash fictions, I can feel it under my skin crawling around. I just got to scratch it out. Poetry is not that way for me, no matter how much I pressure myself. So it is going to be, it is more a matter of luck for myself than anything, it seems, which is, I hate admitting that. I hate admitting that. But it is, and I don't know what it is if I could figure it out. If I could figure it out, you know, during that week where I cranked out 10 poems, it's because I downed a liter of cherry cola every day. Then I'd do it, but I don't know what it is, so I can't. The submission goals, I haven't submitted anything in years, and I've got to get back to it. I'm never going to make any progress if I don't. The self-publishing stuff is something that I've always sort of thought about. I wasn't sure how I felt about, but I think it's time to really sort of delve into that and try to figure something out. As Savvy said on her 12 Days of LitMas, the whole issue with gatekeepers, not a lot of my stuff is publisher-friendly right now. Not that I'm writing racist material or sexist material, but characters, I believe, should be representative of the world, and people in the world are free with their language. Not that I use those words or anything, it's just, I really don't think I fit a lot of places, and I've looked a lot of places, and my writing is not political, and I think right now the landscape of publishing is dominated with the political. So moving on to Booktube Goals. With 365 videos in 365 days, you guys are going to get tired of hearing me say that if you're not already. We're going to have a lot of real estate in which to get things accomplished. I'd like to do 15 short story reviews next year, because that will put us at 50. We will have 50 short story reviews on the channel if we accomplish 15 next year. I would like to do 25 poetry reviews next year, because that will get us to 50 if we do 25 poetry reviews. Now, there is a little bit of a differentiation on the channel because I've been doing a lot of poetry discussions. I don't count them the same. What I do with poetry discussions is I try to really hammer one thing out of the poem and look at that little fragment and apply it to something, whereas the review, we're sort of doing a comprehensive 360 around the poem and then diving in a little bit. I would like to do 14 novel reviews to get to 50 novel reviews. We will for sure hit 12. We have scheduled 12. Pardon me. So if we could fit 2 more in there somewhere, we have one novel we'll be doing a read-along for and a review per month. If we could cram in 2 more, I think that if we could end next year with 50 poetry reviews, 50 short story reviews, and 50 novel reviews, I think that's a good place for a channel. I think that we would be doing our part to make Booktube more review-centric. We would be doing our part to make Booktube more poetry-centric, and we would be doing our part to make Booktube more short story-centric, which I think is an especially undervalued form in today's literary scene, considering that's where many artists start, if not completely hone their crafts. Moving on, I would like to do, so I'm trying to do new series on the channel. I'm trying to move into many sort of biographies. I'm still trying to formulate how that will work, what I will do with that, what to incorporate. But I'm also trying to work on something that I'm calling Whys. So I have previewed a little bit on Instagram some notes that I have taken. Why Bukowski? Because every time I say something about Bukowski, and it's not just Mark from Words Everywhere, there's someone detracting Bukowski. And I think I may be able to diagnose a little bit of why that feeling is out there, but I think it is more important for me to be able to understand for myself and maybe to explain why I feel so strongly in favor of Bukowski's poetry. I would also like to celebrate in September, the month of my birth, the birth of your Lord, by doing patron poetry reviews. We tried this in our first year on Stripped Cover Lit, and it got too out of hand for us. There was just too many moving parts, and there was drama towards the end of the year, and we were sort of lost on the internet towards the beginning of the year, and we never found our footing with it. But I would like to get back to that place, and I would like to do reviews for our patrons for poems in September. And I've also had a little bit of nudging in that direction from a very close friend of mine that I know through the channel. So if any patrons are watching this and you know a poem that you want us to review, I know September is a long time away, but go ahead and put that poem in the description section below, and I will have more preliminary talks with Dalton, and we'll try to get this figured out, because I think that if we do that, and we do poems for our patrons in September, we'll definitely get to our goal for 50 poetry reviews on the channel. Now, some more personal, non-work related goals, or well, one last work-related goal, one last goal to work towards, and that's I want to create 15 tags. I think that tag culture is dying a little bit on Booktube. I am hoping to debut a new tag every Tuesday of the first 3 months of next year. I had made that promise. I am working hard towards it. I've got some movement started. I've got a couple filmed, and I've got a couple more written, and I'm working on a couple more. Still not the full 13 that will comprise the first 3 months of the year. But I think if we could create 15 tags, surely out of 15, 3 to 5 will be good, and will really get traction, and will really sort of drive a conversation in a certain direction. I think I've got a couple maybe written already, but you can never really forecast with that sort of thing. So we'll see how that goes. But as far as goals that I can do nothing to control, but I would like to see the channel prosper for, I'd like to hit our 7,000th subscriber next year. I think that we can do it. I think that it's possible, and I think that with any momentum, and this is a really selfish thing to talk about in front of the camera, but 7,000 subscribers would sure feel nice, especially for all the work that we put in here. We work hard on this stuff, and I know sometimes it doesn't come across all that well, and sometimes we have technical difficulties, and sometimes we have gaffes with uploading and things, but we really do put in a lot of work, especially when you consider we both have full-time jobs, and we have opposite schedules, and I try to do the writing as well. I'm trying to get back into shape. We're trying to launch 2 new channels. Dalton has people that love him. So there's a lot of outside things going on to sort of stall us. But we really do put in a lot of work, so that would feel good. It would also feel real good to hit our 1 millionth view. We have 450 some odd, I think, 1,000 views right now. If we could hit that 1 millionth view, I don't know how we would celebrate, but we'd really have a barn burner. Barn burner? Do people know barn burner? I know no one seemed to know Stuck in the Craw. Surely people understand what barn burner is. I know I'm not too country. I'm from Kansas City. I don't know that I've touched probably 3 horses in my entire life. I'm not that country. Stuck in the craw is absolutely a phrase that people use. People use that phrase. It's a real thing, so is barn burner. Anyway, that's all the goals that I kind of care to share. So I hope that you have goals. I would like to hear about your goals. If you are not a content creator or not participating in LitMas, I would love to hear goals in the comment section below, because goals are something that I really enjoy helping people with, monitoring with people, and maybe helping people find different ways to break their goals down. It's something that's really interesting to me and I enjoy doing. Maybe I should be a life coach. That would be different. The nihilist life coach. That would be interesting. The stoic nihilist life coach. Adrian the life coach. Maybe I'll start that business this year as well. But that's all I have time for here. That's all I have the care to talk about. I hope you enjoyed LitMas as much as I did. And if you like this sort of thing, maybe hit the like button, hit subscribe if you have not already, and I hope to see you not tomorrow for LitMas, but sometime this week when we start uploading again.